Hello, this is a quick video demonstrating how to log in and edit the BSEEN website. So if we visit bseen.biz, you can see the site as you would normally see it. And the way to get into the administration control panel is to go to /wp admin. Once logged in, you enter in your username and password, and then you're able to log into the system. Once logged in, if you were to then visit the main site, you'll notice there's a little admin bar here, which provides a quick way of being able to administer things like comments or edit the page directly without needing to go into the back end and find it, which is always handy. So there's a few things you're going to want to know how to do in here. Now, firstly, this left-hand side menu is what you're going to be dealing with most of the time. The most notable things that you're going to want to deal with are posts, pages, appearance menus, and users. So firstly, let's show you how to administer posts. So if we click on posts, you see your posts, and these are posts that anyone on the site could have posted, and you can tell based upon the author. So when you come into here, some posts are things that are already on the site, so things that are in here at the moment. Some posts may be in here but not yet published or approved, so if a student's posted something, it won't appear on the site straight away, for example. So let me quickly show you first how to add a post to the site. So all you do is you click add new at the top here, or you can click add new underneath posts in order to add a new post. So let's call this test post. Let's give it some text. You've got the WYSIWYG controls here to be able to edit it. Don't worry too much about format, always set it to standard. You can then select which categories it belongs in. So let's say mentors and featured news. You can tag it. You can set an image on it. So for example, to set an image, you would select files from your computer. Like so. Pick a picture. This crunches and uploads it to the system. And then once uploaded, you'll see the image like this. So if we show it, here's the information for the image. Alternate text is stuff for search engines. You might want to say portrait of Andrew. And then to use as a featured image, you click use featured image. So let me just go back to that again. What you would do is you would upload the photos, then once it's done you click show, then you basically use it as a featured image. So that then sets it. Alternatively, you can select from media library, which is a tab at the top. So you select a picture, maybe one that's already been used, and you can set that as a featured image in the same way. So let's keep this as a draft and let's set it not to be published. You see, we can save it, and if we were to then look at all posts, we would see that there's a post in here called draft. Now, things that have been added as a draft or not published might be things from students, so part of something that you're going to need to do throughout this system is logging in and approving people's posts, and you do that by essentially looking at the post, seeing it's a draft, checking the content's valid. You then check that the format's standard, you check that it's in the categories you want it to be, so clearly you may only want to put, you may not want to categorize student news, or you may want to put it only in all news if, say, John Smith on the BSEEN program posted something. You want to check no unlicensed images have been used. If so, replace them with ones in the media gallery. But once you've approved it, all you need to do is hit this publish button. And as a BSEEN administrator, that will now make it live on the website. So if we now go to news, we can see that this test post has now been made live. And it remembers who this particular thing was posted by. Now, if you didn't create the news article, a student did, it will associate the article with them. Now, deleting a post is easy. So if we go to test post, we can either add it to the trash, or if we want to delete multiple items, we can tick the tick box next to it, and under bulk items we can move it to trash. So I'm going to move this to trash now, and then if we visit BSEEN.biz, go to the news page, you can see that the content has now been removed from the page. So that was pretty straightforward and simple. You can do things like approve comments by clicking on the comment box next to an article, but let's not worry too much about that because at the moment we've disabled comments. So let's go to the next bit I want to show you is how to edit pages. So again, left hand panel, pages. If you click on it, you can view all the pages that are in the site. So if you wanted to add a new page, let's say you want to add it underneath about participating, then what you do is you click add new. We call it our test page. Very, very similar to creating a post. So all of this should look really, really familiar. You set its parent to about participating because that's where you want it to be. You set the template. So we're going to set sidebar left, I think is the right template. If you save it and then it's the wrong template, you can always change it later, but let's say sidebar left. There's then a bunch of input areas that you may or may not want to put in. These depend on where the content sits in the site. So if you visit BSEEN.biz and then went to say mentors, this support a generation of entrepreneurs is what's filled out when you fill out the content titles here. Likewise, the rotator content, this is only really used on the home page, so unfortunately some of these are redundant on pages where they're not used, so in the most case you can ignore these. Call to action box is this little box that appears here. You've got things like top level menu title. You can have a play with this. A lot of it's self-explanatory, and if you have any problems you can always ask us and we can help you out. So anyway, we want to publish this direct, so we've set up our page, we've given it the text that we want, and now we publish it. So if we visit the about participating page, you can see that it's not currently in the left hand navigation. Sorry, let me rephrase that. You can see that it is currently in the left hand navigation, but you can see that it isn't currently in the primary navigation up here. So you see our test page there, and if we click it, you can see actually it's displaying wrong, which tells us we've used the wrong theme. So let's go in and change that. So we're going to go to pages, we're going to go to our test page, and then we're going to change this page theme. We're going to change this page theme to normal template 1. So when we update this page and then refresh the page, you'll see it looks how it should look. So picking the right theme is important. So normal test page 1 is the one you want. So let's imagine you wanted to add it to the header navigation. This is quite a simple task to do as well. You may think that the hierarchy here is adopted everywhere, but it's not. If you want to edit the header navigation, you have to do it in a different place. So the header navigation is controlled in appearance and menus. So here you can see on the right hand side a list structure for the header navigation. So in order to add something to the navigation, we'd find it in this list. So we've got our test page, and you add it to the menu. So now you can see it here. So this can now be dragged around. So let's say we wanted this to be under students and graduates at the top. If we were to then save the menu and refresh this page, you can see that our test page is now there. Say you wanted to change the order of it, you move it. Say you wanted to change the name of it, you could rename it. So you can see that has now been renamed. There you go. And if you want to delete it, you simply expand it and remove it, and then save. So you have a great deal of control over where things sit, and that's why when we originally made the site we said, look, content structure doesn't matter too much, it's something that can be moved around later. Let's just get the basis of it right for the time being. So let's go back to pages, and in the same way we want to now remove that test page, which is our test page, and let's say you wanted to revisit this and come back to it later. You can change the publish status to draft and update, and now that will no longer appear on the website. So if we navigate around, you can't, and then revisit students and mentors, you can see that that news article is not there anymore. So that's because it's now in draft. But you could visit that link technically and view it, but it's in draft mode at the moment. So if we tick on our test page, we want to remove that to trash. Same process we've used before. It's also possible to undo things that are in your trash later if you deleted something that you didn't mean to, which is always handy. So a few other things I want to talk about, one of which is probably pretty important and is something you're going to need to be doing moving forward, is administering users. So there's not many users in the system at the moment, and there's going to be two levels of user really. There's going to be an administrator, which is people, you know, who are coordinating the BSEEN program, who you want to be able to log in and have access to pretty much everything, you know, administer posts, that sort of thing. But you're also going to want to have people who are technically students, so students or mentors, and they're obviously going to need different permissions on the site, so you don't want them to be able to do everything. So once you're in users, you can either click on the add new user button here. This lets you create a new user. So let's say we had John Smith as a user. Let's give him a Scorchsoft email. So this is the process you would go to set up a user. So his username is going to be John Smith, website, google.com, password. Let's set it to BSEEN 2012, all capitals, for example. Yeah, so those should match now, and you can set to send them this password via email, and you want to set them to be a contributor. Now what contributor permission means is that they can create content within the system, but they can't actually publish it to be live on the site. It's crucially important you get that role right, because if you start adding someone as an administrator, you'll have a problem, because they'll be able to edit everything. And if you add them as a subscriber, well, they won't be able to do anything. They'll be able to log in, but they won't actually be able to create any content. So we're going to add this person as a contributor. Now it's possible to see what role someone is when you view them here. But for the time being, let's open up another browser and let's log in as John. .biz/wp admin. So he would now log in as John. Don't know why I used 2012, it's 2013. So what you can see here, they've got a very limited view. They can edit their profile, so they can upload a picture and stuff. They can, once they're in their profile, let me make this a little bit bigger. Once they're in their profile, they can do the things that appear on their profile page. So, you know, you've got the ability to set their Twitter and Facebook URLs, change their password. This personal description, I love BSEEN, is what appears on their profile page. Business name might be my business. You know, there might be a load of text and content. So there's a whole host of things. You might want to set an image. So if we choose a file, let's upload one we had earlier, and upload. Crop it. I'm going to do a bit of a weird crop on my hair like that, just for simplicity's sake. Yeah. So they've set their picture. they just fill out the fields basically. And like anything, when they save and update their profile, you should now see that when you go to the students and graduates portfolio page, oh no, they won't be in it yet actually. Sorry, when you add a user, it's important that once you've logged in and edited them, that you set their role as being a past student. So we want past participants, so let's update that user, and now that user will appear in the past participants list, and if you click them you can see all their details and they can administer this themselves. If this user was to then add a blog post, so you can see that they can add a blog post. I'm going to do this quickly, I appreciate I'm rushing through it a little bit. I don't want to make the video too long. So they can categorize it all they want, but you have final review over it. They then submit for review, and you'll notice if you then refresh your page, there's no news on it. But if you then go into posts, you see that John has got a post that's pending review. We can check it. Yeah, so John's currently editing the post. We're going to ignore that for the moment. We're going to make sure it's categorized properly, that it's got the right image, and then we publish. So now when you reload John's page, you can see he's got a blog post on his page. And if you go to news, you can see that the post is now in news, and it's live on the website. So let's delete that again. John can also administer comments that have been posted. So that's how you administer users. The only other thing you're probably going to want to be able to do is to just make some basic changes to site settings, which are here. Although, to be honest, most of the stuff here you're not really going to want to change, so maybe we change the new default user role to contributor so we don't accidentally make that error. But let's say you wanted the default user that you're adding to be admin, you can change that. There's a range of settings, but that is, by and large, all you need to know in order to be able to successfully administer the BSEEN website using WordPress. So that's Andrew Ward here from Scorchsoft Web Development, making complex web projects simple.